Hello and welcome to Expert Age, a thought leadership initiative by Quadrant. I'm Ajinkya Ingle, your host for today's engaging session. Expert Age aims to bring together industry experts and our skilled analysts to explore the critical topics within the information and technology domain, providing their valuable perspectives and knowledge sharing. And today, we are excited to explore the emerging trends and opportunities shaping the future of intelligence process orchestration, IPO. And additionally, we will also touch base on topics like the recent partnership which Appian had, and also the role of generative AI and the strategic positioning of Appian in the competitive landscape. And to discuss this, we are thrilled to have with us Malcolm Ross, who is the Senior Vice President Product Strategy at Appian. Along with him, from Quadrant Knowledge Solutions, we have Apoorva Dawalbhakta, who is the Associate Director of Research, BPM and Process Automation, and Arun Yu, who is the Analyst, BPM and Process Automation. Malcolm, Apoorva, and Arun, welcome to Expertage. Arun, I would like to hand over this conversation to kick off our discussion.
Yeah, thank you, Ajinkya. So, hi, Malcolm. So, I think a discussion of this nature is essential at this moment where automation market is going through a significant transformation, right? So, as you know, we have been in discussions with several major enterprise software companies, including your competitors. So, many of them highlight that generative AI's integration has the potential to transform the market significantly. However, at Quadrant, we believe that generative AI may lower the barriers for vendors to enter new markets or incorporate new technologies. So, what's your perspective on this?
In specifically generative AI and kind of the convergence that we see in the process market. So I guess that my first thing I would say for everyone to think about these new AI innovations and how software vendors are thinking about it is it's not specifically like a feature. It is more of a capability. I use the analogy of like a kernel and an operating system. So those of you familiar with operating system designs and software, a kernel is the core operations of a machine where it controls the network communication, the peripheral communication, the disk memory management, timers, things like this. And generative AI has this potential to really uplift the concept of a kernel to add broad new capabilities around reasoning, translation, large language model understanding, and multimodal access to understand different contexts of data as well. So as we think about it that way, you don't want to think about AI as this isolated thing. It's going to be this pervasive thing that kind of impacts all software application design, where I can use these reasoning capabilities and multimodal capabilities to accelerate all sorts of outcomes inside a software application, such as the development process of composing an application, or the processes and workflows that an application orchestrates in enterprise, or the generation of content, or digestion or consumption of content. All these things are going to be kind of empowered to greater means by these new LLM environments.
Yes, great answer. Yeah. So, Appian has been at the forefront of integrating these AI features into their automation platforms, right? So, in your view, are these AI advancements representing a revolutionary shift in industry, or fundamentally changing how organizations operate, or are they more of an evolutionary step building incrementally on existing technologies and practices?
Yeah, as far as process orchestration overall, I've been in the process orchestration market as a software vendor for 24 years. So to me, it's an evolution. One of the nice things of being in the process software market is that it is a perennial kind of challenge that customers are always trying to solve. The thing that changes year to year is the technology innovations, the dynamics of regulations, and the whole macroeconomic pressures that companies face kind of usually shifts the interest of where process improvement is. Sometimes it's very methodology focused. Sometimes it is task automation. As we saw in like the 2019 to 2022, robotic process automation was really popular, looking at productivity of individual tasks. And now we've seen the shift in the market that a much greater number of people are interested in end-to-end process orchestration. Now that I've kind of addressed kind of integrations and RPA, and now I have this new thing at AI, people are very much asking themselves, how do I orchestrate these things in end-to-end processes to effectively use technologies and achieve even greater efficiency in my business operations as well. So very much an evolution, but always kind of new every year with kind of the new technology innovations coming out and the new kind of capabilities that these platforms are bringing.
Yes, great to know that. So, now, how does it say IPN's approach to integrating AI capabilities within its low-code platform compared to recently launched AI agent builder by OutSystems, right? Which allows developers to build AI agents using models from Azure OpenAI or Amazon Bedrock without any coding. So, specifically, how does IPN address the ease of use, security, and performance monitoring on its AI solutions?
Yeah, great question. And you highlighted AWS Bedrock. One of the distinguishing qualities of Appian is that in April of this year, we signed a strategic collaboration agreement with Amazon. So we're working with them very closely. And our approach to generative AI is essentially having an isolated version of AWS Bedrock, which is a collection of AI models from leading AI providers such as Anthropic and AI21, like the Claude models, Mistral, and we bundle that inside the Appian platform. Now, the benefit of that is, of course, first, it really simplifies access to these AI models in the context of the application design environment. It's just right there included with the license. There's no separate contract requirement to attach that. It doesn't require integration. But more importantly, we can have complete isolation of the data that's inside the application with the AI models, so that we can ensure FedRAMP compliance here in the US government. We're just announcing our high trust certification for HIPAA compliance with our AI models. So that allows us to do healthcare operations and life sciences operations with secure client or patient data, all inside integrating AI with no data leaking and no data being used to retrain those AI models as well. So very, very strong advantage. Now, how we're employing AI inside the core architecture, you can think about it as three primary areas. Once we have Bedrock kind of as a native part of the operating system of Appian, we first empower developers to use the AI architecture to accelerate software development. So this includes maybe common tasks like automatically generating mock data. If I'm building an application with a database, it's really beneficial to me to have mock data to test against. AI is fantastic at generating mock data to accelerate testing. In regards to testing as well, one of the things developers hate to do is create test infrastructure like unit tests. It takes us maybe a few minutes to create logic, but then I got to create all the different unit tests to verify that logic for a proper CI/CD dev cycle. AI, again, in Appian, we're employing this to basically auto-build the entire unit test architecture for an application, so validating the quality of an application. And of course, the more dynamic things like automatically generating an application by looking at existing documents and PDFs and generating the UI auto-fly, and many new other innovations coming in the pike with Appian as well. So all these things are these little touches that still leave the developer in control, but accelerates that time to application design by using AI to accelerate these common tasks in the development process. On the other side, we have customers who want to now build applications that employ AI. So we have a feature in Appian called AI Skills, and these are also powered by AWS Bedrock. So if I need to build an application that looks at free-form emails or looks at unstructured data, and I need to get it into a specific format like JSON and XML, the AI models from Bedrock, like Claude 3.5 that we're using, allows you to very effectively digest content in any format, translate it, reformat it, get into the JSON, and load it inside the system. So these common tasks for transformation of data are perfectly suited for AI models to automate very effectively. And then, of course, things like PII extraction, document understanding are all kind of supercharged by these AI models as well. Our AI skills capability allows our customers to basically do prompt engineering and design those prompts for the AI models for their specific needs and then incorporate them very easily inside their application designs. And again, all this is built on kind of that private AI architecture so that whatever you do when I'm building apps or using these AI skills, it's all completely isolated inside that tenancy of that customer.
Great. I mean, so, uh, as you are a leader in the automation market, it's actually quite overwhelming to see these things. So, since we spoke about this security thing, I would like to know, like, considering this the impending implementation of the European Union AI Act and its risk-based approach, how is Appian preparing to ensure compliance and seamless AI integration across the enterprise? Like, like, can you elaborate some of the strategies or frameworks that you are developing to minimize this risk while adhering to the upcoming regulations?
Yeah. Well, there's always the policy of trust but verify. So any vendor, should be audited independently by third-party auditors to validate the architectural design. So even if vendors are saying, yeah, it's isolated, look for, if you're a customer evaluating software vendors like Appian, look for those third-party independent audits. Those are like FedRAMP here in the U.S. government, high trust in healthcare, PCI DSS, GDRP. These are very important validations by independent auditors that the architectural design is. And don't be afraid to ask those software vendors to say, show me exactly how the architectural data is flowing. The other thing is, very important to Appian is to have that native LLM capabilities. That relationship with Amazon for us is very important because, again, it's not just the isolation of the AI model in the Appian stack, but the simplicity of contracting, the simplicity of access, and the ability to really seamlessly integrate that experience without having to worry about other connections. What we see from other vendors is, going over to OpenAI, but requiring a customer to contract with Azure separately to basically purchase AI license keys and then attach that to their platform so they can enable these AI features. It just really complicates not only the contracting and pricing, but also the information flow. You got to be much more cognizant of how data is flowing outside of that development platform into these third-party AI models. And then it requires you to certify each of those independently to ensure both of them are, say, high trust certified or FedRAMP certified. So we really are confident in that kind of single model approach where everything's inside one architectural stack and kind of embedded into what we would call the operating system of Appian.
Right. I think that throws a lot of light on the relevant matter. So, Malcolm, I'm sure we discussed before this call as well. So, intelligent process orchestration, right? So, at Quadrant Knowledge Solutions, we have been researching the market, the process automation domain for multiple years now. But I think it was high time for vendors and analyst firms to recognize that it's not just process automation, but process orchestration. And in fact, it's not just process orchestration, but it's intelligent process orchestration. That is how we look at the market, right? And after tracking the market for multiple years, last year, finally, we started a proper Spark Metrics research study for IPO. Appian has been one of the significant players in the market throughout. Appian have been positioned quite well in this metrics as well. So on this entire background, I just want to take a step back and understand from you as a product person, like how does Appian understand IPO as a concept? How do you guys see yourself in the IPO market? And what are probably the significant capabilities that would make you guys stand out in this market?
Yeah, well, as I said, Appian has been in this market for as long as I've been here. I've been here almost 20 years. We used to call it business process management, and then it became like business process management suites. And even some years ago, Gartner called it intelligent business process management suites. So there's been this concept of business process orchestration as a need, but as I said, like the interest of it changes over time. Oftentimes, process orchestration is heavily associated with technology trends, as we see like today with AI and automation. And other times it's heavily associated with methodology trends, such as Six Sigma and total quality management. The current trend, what we see, I think right now, is really organizations recognizing that the focus maybe over the past several years of task automation in the concept of RPA and API integrations was maybe beneficial in isolated cases, but not beneficial by really understanding how to integrate technology effectively to transform a business. RPA lacks the ability to transform business operations without an understanding of how these pieces fit together. So process orchestration today really is the mechanism that organizations use as a platform that helps them understand the relationships of humans, bots, systems, data, and artificial intelligence, and how those are going to come together inside a holistic business process experience, as well as a customer experience or employee experience. And that's a very important kind of attribute today, because process orchestration, aside from understanding how these pieces fit together, is very important if I want to effectively employ AI that is regulatory compliant, as well as understand the data flow and understand the impact of my business operations. Again, implementing AI in isolated cases is going to be haphazard and not really beneficial, and potentially fraught with risk as far as you see these new AI regulations emerging, where companies need to be cognizant of how they employ AI to ensure they don't run afoul of government oversight.
Right. I think that puts things into perspective. So my next question consecutive to this one would be, now you guys have been in this market for as long as you guys can remember, 20 plus years minimum. So the end user requirements, the end user expectations, they must have gone a transition with time, right? So currently, what are those needs or expectations that the end users are setting up from the IPO vendors, especially those vendors like you who are driving the market? So
Yeah.
could you throw some light? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could take the word end users in two realm there. You have the end users of the applications, right? So the actual individual users, and then you have the corporation buying patterns. So maybe address those separately. Is from the end user perspective, there's always a demand to create what I would call commercial type experiences for the end users, as far as UX design and user experience. So that's always a very important part of Appian strategy, is to constantly be evolving the user experience so that they can, over the past several years, it's been about working on iPhones, working on Androids, working effectively on whatever device. Now it's increasingly working in a modern, AI chat. Many of us are now using things like ChatGPT and Google Gemini and these other platforms to get more faster responses, more informed responses from computer systems. And Appian similarly is evolving our user experience to have those AI chat type experiences as well that complement the whole user experience. From the macro buying perspective, there is a macro market economics as far as like what CTOs and CIOs are considering, which is very much a platform focus and a consolidation of investments. We've seen many companies, especially over that kind of 2020 to 2022, there was a lot of hiring going on, especially here in the United States, when interest rates were low and things like the PPP program were making money and access very cheap. And similarly, there was a large investment in both human capital as well as technology capital. And we're seeing a little bit of a backlash from that to say we need to make sense of now our technology landscape and simplify it so that we can more effectively address our business needs and not just manage these different IT systems. So there's a larger trend of kind of CTOs and CIOs simplifying their stack, looking at platforms, and specifically like systems like Appian that bring to bear multiple technologies in a single stack solution. So you get RPA, you get API, iPaaS type integration, you get AI, you get low code, you get data fabric, all inside one lens, or one license rather, to solve many, many challenges, rather doing isolated technologies, which just really complicates your IT stack.
Right. I think that makes total sense. So, just taking this forward, what would you say are, some of the relevant, emerging, existing, and key trends or opportunities that you feel would be shaping this IPO market from now onwards to from now onwards? Yeah.
Yeah, I think, again, going back to generative AI, I know probably a lot of people are already tired of seeing the marketing on generative AI, especially from enterprise software vendors. But honestly, it's like what I'm seeing from my product strategy teams and engineering teams is we're just getting started. There is a transformation coming over the next 1-2 years that we'll see increasingly generative AI impacting software development, business process operations, and enterprises. So very much encourage, customers need to be really looking at that and talking to their software vendors like Appian about what does that future direction look like, because it is very compelling. And what software vendors like Appian are working on is really kind of making that access to this technology as seamless and easy as possible that works for enterprises, which means it's not just that, that fancy little prototype that generates a workflow, but it's that workflow generation or the interface generation that works for them with data security, data privacy, AI privacy, regulatory compliance. These things take time. As I mentioned recently, we are just announcing our HITRUST certification. HITRUST is a US certification for HIPAA compliance or healthcare patient care compliance. These things did not, we've been working on this AI certification for several months now. These things take time to have auditors review it, how data is flowing. So you're going to see more and more of these certifications, these compliance regulations being achieved, which is going to unleash vendors like Appian to do even more innovation using these AI models. So lots of exciting things coming, I would say, down the pike as far as the impact of AI in process orchestration and application development as well. And then you see there's a larger thing going on as far as commoditization of some of these. RPA, for example, going back on that, I remember back in the day, just a few years ago, where you might be paying $7,000 to $12,000 a year for a bot, a single bot. There's the price expectations of these technologies is really diminishing, and there's competitive pressures and commoditization of these common automation technologies that you really can't justify buying maybe a standalone RPA product. You need to really think about the cost value of having a platform that simply commoditizes this stuff and gives you multiple tools and gives you more effective use of your IT dollars inside your business as well. So that's kind of a large part of what's going on with process orchestration platforms.
Yeah. So Malcolm, like you mentioned, the automation market is going through a big transformation nowadays, and some of your commodities, for example, Camunda, they recently they had a strategic partnership with Hope North to enhance their cloud native technology systems through automation and optimization of customer experience, and also. Let's say Salesforce, like they came up and they came up with a partnership with Workday to leverage their combined data sets for enhancing their AI in different use cases. So, how does Appian plan to position its platform in such a competitive landscape? Like, how will Appian ensure remains as a key player in integrating and optimizing data across different enterprise platforms to drive AI-powered business decisions?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we don't worry about our competitors much. We worry about our customers. So it's all about just driving customer value. Kudos to these other vendors who are also driving innovations. But at the end of the day, it's about value for our customers and how we can effectively, solve their problems quickly and efficiently, but also give them a reliable platform that they can rely on for many years to come as well, that evolves with their needs. One of the things we're most proud about at Appian is some of our customers, if I call it some like Ryder Trucks, for example. Ryder Trucks has been a customer. They're I think the largest trucking company in the United States as far as transportation of trucking goods. Hundreds of thousands of trucks on the road here. They've been a customer since I think 2012, so 12 years. And it's not just getting these customers and solving their immediate challenges, but allowing them to have a platform that constantly is evolving with the market needs. As AI becomes hot, incorporating AI, as RPA is relevant, incorporating RPA, and always being kind of the tool that they need today to solve their business challenges, and knowing that it will evolve to meet their challenges up to tomorrow as well. So those long-term relationships that we really focus on, continuous innovation.
Yeah. I think Yeah, I think that was a good one. So I want to connect, the previous point to this one, basically, Malcolm. We mentioned about IPO, right? So is it safe to assume that the direction in which the IPO market would be moving in the coming times, it's going to evolve from the automation market, and is IPO the absolute future for like that's how the end user should be looking at it? What's your conceptual take on this thing ultimately?
Yeah, it very much is a consolidation. So there's, you could say, four areas as far as what we're recognized as different software markets being consolidated into this new process orchestration market. Those are low code application development platforms, business process automation platforms or BPM platforms, integration platforms as a service, iPaaS solutions, and robotic process automation software. All these technologies are kind of being merged together in these larger platforms on top of with AI infused as well. So AI, specifically the new generative AI, but also a very common use case for these new modern AIs is intelligent document processing. So if you look at the macro trends, what's going on, Appian's not the only one, but many vendors are merging these technologies together to the point where I would say some software markets don't exist anymore. For example, low code. I would contend that low code is no longer a software market because low code is simply a design pattern that can be employed to help customers achieve outcomes more quickly. And that's being applied to this enterprise process orchestration platform by many vendors. In a similar sense, you could apply the concept as a product design concept as a software vendor to, we've seen things like Unreal, a video game company, advertise sometimes as low code. We've seen, business intelligence platforms advertise themselves as low code. So low code is a design philosophy that can be applied to specifically helping customers build software faster. Robotic process automation also is being bifurcated into two kind of functional areas, I would say. You have one area of robotic process automation, which is, I would say, personal productivity. Personal productivity is more in the Microsoft Office or the Office Productivity Suite, where it is a tool for an individual business user to record a pattern and then replay it to solve their individual tasks. And then there's robotic process automation as an integration strategy platform, and that's a little bit more with the iPaaS side because central IT, corporate IT often has challenges doing integrations with legacy systems or systems that lack modern APIs. So RPA is a very effective tool for doing those more complex integrations. So you see a little bit of a split in RPA of personal productivity RPA and central IT RPA for kind of as an integration platform. Then integration platform as a service, you see the iPaaS vendors really kind of also, API integration, so orchestration is a big part of process orchestration as well. So those kind of markets are budding together as well. And again, all the vendors are trying to, really deliver ultimately more value for the customers. How can I deliver these services that you're used to, but at a better price point and is less training and faster time to solution?
That makes total sense. I think no questions from my side, but I'll just compliment Appian on one small thing. I think recently I stumbled upon this wonderful article about the AI trust plan, right? So I think you guys are working a lot towards AI intellectual property, right? Conserving data, making sure that the governance and everything is in place. And I think that's a great thing because I think in today's times, especially in the post-pandemic world, I think this is something that vendors are working towards. But I think with the coming in of generative AI and whatnot, I think end users are ultimately really bad. What they're wanting is they're wanting the data security and privacy, right? So I think I just want to take a moment and compliment Appian for that because I read Matt Calkin's statement about that, and it's a very heartening thing to see for us from a point of view of an analyst as well.
I always like to use OpenAI as an example, where everyone is very enthralled with their innovations with ChatGPT and OpenAI. But the thing all enterprises hate about OpenAI is the word open, right? It's like we always say that the right way to say it is really enterprise AI, because that's what businesses want. Enterprise AI, they want all the benefits of these generative AI models, but they want it with data security and process orchestration to make sure all their data is completely private and they can intelligently insert the AI into their overall processes as well. So a little bit different. It's I think going against OpenAI using that word open, but there's also many competitive models now, which is evolving very quickly. We're very impressed, like with, as I said, Claude 3.5 has a much larger context window than ChatGPT 4.0 right now. So these very beneficial features we're seeing from Anthropic, AI21, even Gemini is getting very competitive in the market, which will be beneficial to customers. It'll push prices down, allow us to use that technology more effectively.
Couldn't agree more with you, Malcolm. I think Arun has a last question or two, but those were the questions from my side. Arun, over to you.
Yeah, Michael. So, even though you said that Appian is not much bothered about the what your competitors are doing, but like these strategic partnerships, how do you envision these strategic partnerships or these collaborations influencing this market adoption rates, and what are the, from your point of view, what are the specific metrics that you will use, you guys will use to measure the success of this strategy?
Yeah, I mean, the partnerships, especially when it comes to large language models, generative AI, it is going to be a very small set of players there, because the cost and investment to build a highly reliable and effective large language model is out of the realm of access to most companies. So you need to be these hyperscalers like Amazon, Microsoft, Google, to have not only the data set to train it on, but also the access to the raw compute to actually build those large language models. So I think every software vendor has to, at a fundamental level, kind of pick a kind of a partner there that's going to embed generative AI in their platform. And of course, Appian, we've had a long relationship with Amazon. We were one of the first vendors in their cloud architecture in 2007. So Amazon is really who we're going with. At the same sense, though, you also have to recognize, as a process orchestration platform, that all these different customers may choose multiple AI or different AI models. So in the same sense where Appian is embedding Amazon Bedrock, we also have integration connectors to OpenAI, integration connectors to Google and Gemini, or Llama and Llama 2, or all these different platforms. So you can still have that choice of orchestrating whichever AI service you want as these other partnerships that we maintain, rather than the embedded one. But that's that's kind of the modus of orchestration platforms, is to be this heterogeneous platform that can unify all these different technologies into a business operation.
Great. So that's it from my side also, Apoorva.
Yeah, I think those were the questions from the research side. Thank you so much, Malcolm, for your time. I think it was a great interaction. And apart from it's a special feeling, because apart from the briefings, these are the fireside chats that really help us connect with the vendors and understand the real sentiment from the vendor side as well. So thank you once again. Your time is highly appreciated.
Great. Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, Ajinkya will just have a few words to say, probably. Yeah, Ajinkya.
Thank you, Malcolm, Apoorva, and Arun, for such an insightful and thought-provoking discussion. Your expertise has provided a valuable perspectives on the dynamics of the IPO market, the role of generative AI, and also the evolving landscape of the process of orchestration and automation. To our audience, thank you for joining us today on Expertage. We hope you found this session informative and enlightening. Stay tuned for more such discussions with the industry leaders and experts. Until next time, keep exploring the information and technology domain. Goodbye and thank you.